Hello, welcome back to the Wakelet podcast. So my name's Sean, I'm here with Misbah today. This is part of a mini-series that we're doing where we get to meet the team behind Wakelet. So I usually explain this at the beginning, but we do a lot of stuff with the community at Wakelet, and I just thought it's a good opportunity for people to meet the real people behind Wakelet,
I think it's a great idea, yeah. It's amazing. I'm really happy to be here and speak to the community and, do anything that communicates with them. I think it's always good.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like you're quite a natural in front of the camera, Misbah. This is not like a natural position for me. I'm a software engineer, typical nerd, like typing away on the computer. Don't really generally have people looking at me.
Yeah. Well, you're putting me to shame right now, that's for sure. It's difficult presenting things and being in front of a camera because it's super unnatural. And I think that especially when it's just the camera looking at you, I think in a conversation like this it's much easier, but when you're just looking at the void of a camera lens, it's really hard to communicate properly with it because it's not natural. You should be making eye contact and seeing other people's body language. It's one of the most unnatural things you can do, but it's literally just trial and error, and there's
the more you do it, I guess, right?
Precisely, yeah. There's a lot of scars that you build up over time, just to kind of get used to it and do it right.
Yeah. I mean, for that reason, I was quite nervous. I almost said interview then, but talking to you on this because you're kind of like one of the main faces of Wakelet, I think. Anyway, I remember when I was about to join Wakelet, I was looking into Wakelet as a company, and a lot of the promo videos and a lot of the content, you were the face of it almost. So when I saw you in real life, it was almost like I was starstruck or something. I was like, oh, this is the guy who's on all those videos.
Oh, I never get that. When people come in, and obviously when we go to events and stuff, I have had it where people recognize you from the videos. Yeah. But it's literally just a case of me volunteering to do it. At the beginning when we were just starting out, obviously. We just needed somebody to be there for the vlogs. We needed people to be there for the video content, and even though it seems like it comes naturally to me, it doesn't. Anybody can become good on camera. It's just having the opportunities and going outside your comfort zone. But as Marcus, who's behind the scenes, will attest to right now, the amount of outtakes, the amount of bad takes and bad cuts that it took to just do the first couple of videos was a lot. So it's just building up a tolerance for it, I think, and relaxing. I think that's the main thing. But it's a really, really good skill to have, and I'm really I'm really happy that I could build this up as a skill during my time here, because it's one of those things that people can't take away from you when you're gone. It's something that's there forever. So
it's very interesting that we do this as a company. Actually, there's not many companies that do this to this level. Podcasts and videos and promos, and it's really nice.
I think it helps everybody. It helps everybody get used to being on camera, and I think nowadays, when we talk about content and how important content is for sharing a message, especially whether it's a company or your own business or whatever, I think it's a good skill to have to build up. Get comfortable being on camera, speaking on camera, and
Yeah. So your role is head of partnerships, is that right? Yeah. What does that mean?
Okay, so
assume that I don't know anything about that.
So my role at Wakelet is so fluid, honestly. I think everyone's role is to a degree, especially on the growth team. We wear so many different hats, and our roles are so they encompass lots of different disciplines and lots of different responsibilities. So officially it's head of partnerships, which involves building partnerships with other companies in the community, discovering ways that we can work together, whether it's integration based or community based, and it's good fun. I think one of the skills which is required is to be able to deal with people in a good way, and be able to talk about the company in a compelling way, and not only that, but find connections in places where other people may not. Our integration with Flipgrid is a really good example of that. Yeah. One platform is a camera, and another platform is a curation tool. It's like, okay, well, how can we bring those two things together? But outside of that, I mean, it's as I'm sure most people know outside of the business as well, that it's not just the partnerships things that I do. There's a lot of other stuff: content creation, copywriting, community engagement. I think is probably a more appropriate term for what I do in the business. But I like having a role that's fluid.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, we spoke briefly on this with Elle on the previous podcast, but because Elle came in as a designer, and now similar to you, bit of everything.
It's great. I mean, I think that if it's a good company and a good business, you'll recognize that people have things which they're, is their role, but then outside of that, they'll have things that they're passionate about, things that they want to do, like what you're doing right now. You know what I mean? Like you're an engineer, and you're doing something which is very community focused, which is very out there. And I think that the best companies are the companies that can recognize that in their staff and in the people that join the company, and put it to good use, and allow that freedom to move outside your general purview into other things. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah. Before each of these, I do a little bit of research about a person.
Ooh.
And so I was asking around the office, anything that I could that I need to know about Misbah. And one of the main things was that you have a fact about everything.
Yeah.
And that if you was a superhero, your name would be Fact Man. What would you say to that?
Yeah,
do you agree with that?
Yeah, I would. It's a reputation that it's a very odd skill to have. I couldn't imagine a scenario where Fact Man would ever be useful, but I'm just really greedy for knowledge and stuff. You know what I mean?
I watched the book club podcast that you guys did, and I found it really funny and interesting that your book was Wikipedia. You were talking about I just consume knowledge on Wikipedia, and it sounds like that is the case when asking other people, and that he knows about everything, knows the facts about everything, and I guess that's from that, right?
It is.
At least
just,
partly.
Yeah, it's just a curiosity. I think I love cinema, right? And I love movies, and I love music. I love lots of different forms of art, and I find it really frustrating when somebody makes a reference to something and I don't get that reference, and I will literally pause the movie and I'll go on Wikipedia
really?
to find it. Yeah, and I think it's just that curiosity and that I don't like not knowing. Yeah, and I always have this rule where I'm like, I want to be able to be in a position where if I meet a total stranger, there will always be something that we can connect on and talk about, because at least I have a little bit of knowledge to get the conversation going. But I'd say that's a pretty accurate, fair description of me. It's not the coolest thing. I mean, Fact Man isn't gonna sell tickets.
I mean, it could save the world indirectly. Almost,
saving the world one game show at a time.
Exactly. I mean, they gave me a list, and I don't know whether this was just an example, but they were for watches, dragons, pens. I don't know if this was just random words, but I wondered, if not to put you on the spot, but if you knew a fact about watches.
I mean, well, I worked at Louis Vuitton back in the day, and I was watch specialist there. So we got
a great one to ask.
We got to learn how watches were made, and I find it fascinating that the craftsmanship behind watches existed way before batteries, and the idea of like whenever I look at somebody's watch when they talk about it, I can't help myself. When someone buys a new watch, this is a good fact. I look at the hand, and if it ticks like that, it's an electronic watch. It's a quartz watch, right? But if it sweeps like that, then it's an automatic watch without a battery, and it just goes from momentum, which is a beautiful feat of craftsmanship. But yeah, I'm always
that's
judging
incredible
people.
that that's awesome. I mean, I've seen both types of watches, and I've never thought about that there's a difference between them. I just thought it was a design
quartz
feature.
are more accurate. They hold the time better, but an automatic watch, that you have to wind up or move, that's like a true watch, true craftsmanship. But this isn't a podcast about watches.
No, I love it though. I love that. I could pick a word at random, and you had a fact about it. So Fact Man holds up.
Yeah.
Apparently, again, another thing from the office that I've learned is your favourite activity is to get your hair cut.
I don't know why. Yeah,
I feel that might be a joke one, but I don't know.
It's honestly, it's not a vanity thing. I promise you, it's not. It's a genetic thing. My hair grows at an incredible rate, and it's very frustrating. And I
remember during lockdown that you was putting pictures of yourself in collections, because we had collections going during lockdown, right, for a while, of what the team's up to. And I remember a lot of yours were, look how long my hair is.
It was pretty bad. I mean, if anybody, I apologize right now, anybody in the Wakelet Middle East group, because when I set that group up, I did a video welcoming everybody to the group, and my hair looks like a mushroom cloud. It's horrible, and I apologize, but I tend to get a haircut every 2 weeks, just because when the sides start to grow, it just looks ugly. So, but it's a necessity. Yeah, it's not out of vanity. It's a necessity.
Enough,
I promise.
I'm sure you have lots, but do you have a single Wakelet collection? Is there a collection that you think that's my favourite? And that could be a collection that you've put together yourself, or across Wakelet that you've seen.
I would have to say that my favourite collections would be the hip hop collections. I'm a fan of hip hop myself, and we've got this incredible incredible suite of collections on Wakelet around hip-hop artists. And the great thing is that those collections could only exist on Wakelet, right?
Yes.
So I'm a fan of Kanye West, a bit controversial, I know, but I love his music, and discovering something on Wakelet that has every Kanye West sample, every guest verse, every interview, every live performance, that's like a gold mine for a fan of any musician. So it's one of the things about Wakelet which a lot of people don't realize, is that it's not just the education side of things. For music, if you're a fan of something, you can create something incredible. So yeah, I'd have to say it would be the hip hop collections. Yeah,
I've seen some of them. Yeah, there's a 2-pack one. I remember, again, when I was first started and trying to figure out what Wakelet was all about, I came across I think it was a Reddit post, and it had a 2-pack collection on there. And I got it instantly. I went there and was like, that's why Wakelet is great, because it had lots of like hidden freestyles and things like that, things that the average listener might not hear.
Exactly. You take an artist like Tupac, and there's a mystique around him, and there's lots of content floating around that people haven't seen, and the only alternative to having a Wakelet collection is having to look for that yourself, and you might not find it all. So
I knew you was a fan of Kanye West, actually. I could tell because I had a look at your collections that you put together. You put a lot of collections together.
Yeah,
and there's a few of Kanye West.
Yeah, I have.
And one of them was, I think one of them was titled "Why We Should Stop Hating Kanye West."
Yeah, that was a while ago.
I mean, to be honest, it's interesting that you said, "Oh, this is controversial," but I'm a fan of Kanye West, because I'm a fan of Kanye West as well.
Amazing.
And it's very cool to meet other fans of Kanye West because of that controversy. Because sometimes when you say it, people judge you instantly, and they'll say, because of his character or whatever things he's done.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, a lot of it I think is to do with mental health and things. And
for sure.
But if you can separate the music from the person a lot of the time.
That's what I was about to say. I think that there's something nice about being able to. And, I mean, there's certain circumstances where behavior of a particular artist or a film director or whatever kind of really cancels the stuff that they do because it's so bad. But in most cases, when it comes to controversy, I think separating the art from the artist is good, and I think it's a healthy thing to do. Art by itself is a subjective thing, and the fact that it was created by somebody who's controversial. To be honest with you, most really good artists, most impactful artists tend to be very, very controversial throughout history. It's just that nowadays, things are a lot more open. There's social media, so it's very easy. It
amplifies it a lot more.
Exactly.
Doesn't it? There's a video for everything. Anyone says anything, it's there. It's forever.
Precisely. Yeah. I still love his music. Last couple of albums, not so much, but previous albums, masterpieces.
I think his first 3, I think, are my favourites. Again, I love all his music, but those first 3 were great. And I also know that, and I've spoke to you about this around the office as well, so I know this, but you also have collections on this. You're a fan of Zelda, the video game, right? You love Zelda. Ocarina of Time, your favourite?
Best video game of all time. Yeah, I think that people who, it's really funny, the amount of people who look at video games and put them in the same category as like toys or things for children. It happens a lot, but I think that for me, a large portion of my character and who I am and the things that I enjoy have come from those formative years when I played video games. I still play video games. I think that they are art, and if you take a game like Zelda, for example, when you look at the production of that and you look at the music behind that, there's a reason why these things are so memorable for you as a child and as an adult. I think everybody should play video games, because they're an incredible art form and they're interactive and they're very unique. So
definitely. And you mentioned the music there, because I think we've spoke before about kind of
we've shared
playlists, Zelda playlists.
we have.
I think it's great. I mean, as a software engineer, it's great to listen to that kind of music, that lyricless, but like kind of brings you back to a happier time, and it's just calming, relaxing.
It's very warm, nostalgic.
I love that. Some of your other collections are interesting as well. So I wrote a little list of some of the ones. I mean, I couldn't list them all, but there's ones on climate change, again, Kanye West, Zelda. There was one on sleep paralysis, which I thought was really interesting, because
this goes back to another podcast we did, the first one.
Oh,
actually.
Really? You spoke about
I feel like the whole world knows about my issues with sleep now. Honestly, after that,
so you have sleep paralysis?
I do, not as frequently as I used to, but I had after that first podcast, I had so many people in the community like reach out and say, this is what you need to do to get better night's sleep. You should be eating this, you should be doing this, which I'm very, very thankful for. And some of which I've, those techniques I've tried and it's helped me. But I have a very odd relationship with sleep, and sleep paralysis is have you ever had it?
I have. This is why I found it really interesting.
It's a deeply terrifying thing.
It really is. And it's I've never. So just to quickly summarize what that is, it's I guess you feel like you're paralyzed, right? You wake up but you can't move. And you move your eyes around the room, and sometimes you can hallucinate as well, right?
Yeah, it's very scary.
So whenever it happens to me, and it doesn't happen as regular anymore, as you said yourself as well, but I hear things in my ears.
Yeah.
I don't really see things, but
Yeah.
I shut my eyes. I think that's a lot of it because I shut my eyes through fear. I don't want to see something, but I hear things as well, and that's part of the hallucination. It's a terrifying experience.
It is, and it's funny how everybody has very similar things. And you know what I found out when like I said, I'm always loving to research on these things. So the first time that I had it, I legit thought that I died. I woke up and I was so relieved. I was like, thank God I get to live another day, because I didn't know what was happening to me. But yeah, basically what it is it's a hormone that is produced, or a chemical that's produced in your brain, and it's in a certain part of your brain, at the back of your head. And what it does is evolutionary. It's there to protect us, because when we were sleeping on, let's say trees or very narrow surfaces, when you're asleep, you need to be paralyzed to stop you from acting out your dreams, to stop you from rolling out. What happens when you have sleep paralysis is that part of your brain wakes up, but that your brain is still flooded with that chemical that is paralyzing you. So it's very scary, because you're kind of in this in-between state, and because you're in that point of fear where you can't move, your brain starts creating false threats that present themselves in very, very, very scary ways. But I've just learned to deal with it over time, and now when I have it, most likely it's because I'm slept on my back, which is pushing that part of the head. But I've learned how to deal with it. I just kind of relax, and you're lucid dreaming at that point. So I think about falling. I think about tripping. You ever had it when you're about to get to sleep and you kind of do that?
Of course, yeah.
So I try and bring that about in an artificial way, and most of the time it works.
Alert you.
Yeah, it jerks me sort of out of it, and it helps. Yeah, but
wow. Faxman again holds up because there's so many facts about that. So this is going to sound really strange, but I've heard that your arms are weird and bendy.
Oh my God. Do you know what's so crazy? When I was thinking about this podcast yesterday, I thought, what am I going to do? Because I thought you were going to ask, to tell people something that they may not know about you. My arms are crazy. Yeah.
Is that what you would choose if I said that?
I would have, because it's the easiest thing to do. And I'll tell you a little story about it. So when and I'm going to show you, don't worry everybody, I'm going to show you what this looks like in a second, because it's disgusting.
If you're comfortable doing it.
Of course, of course. In this context, it's great. But when I first started high school, right, on the very first day of high school, I had the wherewithal to understand that there were friendship groups that were being created in real time around me. And in my mind, I panicked and I said, if I don't make friends with a group of people right now, I'm not going to have friends for the rest of school, right? Because that's how it is. Like the friends that you make in year 7, they're kind of your friendship group for the rest of school. So I just brought a bunch of strangers over, brought a bunch of guys over, and I was like, do you want to see something? And they were like, yeah. So my arms are double jointed, so I just showed them. Wow. I just showed them my arms like this.
So just to describe to the people who are listening and not watching, Misbah's arms basically bend the opposite direction to what they should. Yeah. Oh wow.
And that's
so
normal.
It's double jointed.
Yeah. So when I lean down, that's normal for me.
It's not painful in any way.
It's not painful in any way. It's not. So everybody was like, oh my God, come and look at this. And before I knew, I had like 20 kids around me, and I was like, yeah, look at it, just selling out completely, performing monkey
best
stuff,
friends for life.
Completely. I was like, I'm gonna sell out for this minute, and if it's at the expense of my dignity, I don't care, because at least I'm gonna make some friends out of it, and I did. So that's something people don't know. Weird arms.
That's a very interesting fact, and a very strange fact as well. That's awesome. Did you ever watch the cartoon Recess as a kid? Actually,
I did. Yeah.
Do you remember how each kid had a nickname, like Swing Girl?
Of course.
I feel like I was trying to think of some of the other ones, but it was in that kind of zone, and I feel like you'd be Bendy Arm Guy.
Bendy Arm Guy. That's pretty. That's pretty much my reputation. I had to start actually building my personality after that, though, to keep the friends. That was the way of getting their attention. Exactly. Yeah.
And I'm not going to put you on the spot with this at all. Don't worry. But I've heard that you're a great singer as well.
I'm definitely not a great singer. Do you know this is the thing, Sean? I think there's a really good quote which I love, which is, in the land of the blind, the man with one eye is king, right? When you're surrounded with terrible singers, if you can sing, if you can hold a note, then all of a sudden you're Frank Sinatra. So that's. Okay. I'm definitely not a good singer. No, I love music and I like to sing, but I'm not good at it.
Okay, fair. That's fair. I feel like you're being a bit humble, maybe, but
okay. No, okay. I can hear myself. I know.
I was going to ask you on that same. That same subject. So do you have a go-to song? And the reason I ask this is because this is something that I was always anxious about, and it happened to me about being put in a position where you have to sing a song, or think of a song right now, go, and what would you choose? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a tricky one. I'd have to choose just a really simple one. There's some good songwriters out there. To be honest with you, when I do sing, I don't try and compare myself or sing songs which are difficult, really high-pitched like vocal performances at all. It tends to be more like on the lower scale, like the baritone type thing.
Okay.
I don't know. It would have to be like folk kind of music, like Ben Howard or something like that. But
Okay.
I'm not. I don't know who told you this information. I'm not. I'm not a singer in any way, shape, or form. You will never find any material of me singing. I just like to hum a tune every now and again.
No, the reason I ask is because I was put in that position once. I was on holiday in Cyprus, and they were doing kind of a for the resort entertainment. Me and my wife were dragged up on the stage.
Oh, wow.
With a couple of couples, and
Sounds like my nightmare.
oh, it was horrible. And there was around 100 people, I'd say, watching, and it was a Mr. and Mrs. game, so we had to compete, and you didn't know what the games were going to be. And one of the games was that I had to just stand up and sing something for everyone, and it was like, no music, just sing something, go.
A cappella.
And I was on the spot, and the only thing that came to me was "Don't Stop Me Now" by Queen.
Okay,
so
that's
I stood
good.
there and was like, "Tonight I'm gonna have mercy," and like it just kind of, I don't know why, but like now that's always my go-to song, and like if I'm ever at a wedding or anything like that, I always request that song because it just kind of brings me back.
Yeah, and it's a crowd pleaser as well. You know what
Exactly.
I mean?
People started singing along with it. It was great.
There's
It was
songs
great.
which like you can shout as well, which are good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. What is your phone wallpaper?
My phone wallpaper is a.
I asked this to Elle. I feel like you can learn a lot about someone from their phone wallpaper.
Yeah, it's a picture that I took when I was in Portugal a while back. I've got a bunch of notifications, so you can't see it, but I don't know if you can see it in the sun.
Oh,
But
it's like a scenic picture.
Yeah,
that's
it
nice.
looks- it looks like-
a beach with an ocean and
Yeah,
cliffs in the background.
It looks like it should be a wallpaper, but
Yeah, that's right. But you took that
I
yourself.
took it, yeah,
Wow.
which is really cool.
That's a great wallpaper.
And the funny
yeah.
thing is, my camera was like pretty bad at the time, but it managed to get a really nice picture. So yeah, that's my wallpaper. Yeah.
That's really cool. Yeah, I like
Nothing
that.
too interesting out there. It'd be interesting to see what other people's are for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I'll have to start asking everyone that question. What's your favourite sandwich?
Okay, I'm thinking. Man, why do I'm always on the spot. You, honestly,
Sorry,
ask
we're
me
being on the
about if
spot.
you ask me about art or philosophy, I can just immediately realize. Ask me about a sandwich, I can't do it. Like,
Well, I figured, a lot of the other podcasts, you'll mention philosophy and you'll go into detail about things like
you
that.
bring
and
it down
tech.
a notch.
Exactly. This is just about you as a person and what your favourite sandwich is.
Okay, so I do love pastrami sandwiches.
Pastrami,
yeah,
okay,
when you've
yeah,
got
good
like
choice.
rye
Like a
bread,
New York style.
rye bread, like pastrami, nice thick pastrami, good quality, some cheese, some mustard, a little bit of mayonnaise maybe. That's a great sandwich. Yeah,
Okay.
it's a
Yeah,
great
that sounds
sandwich.
great.
Do burgers class as a sandwich? And McDonald's?
That's a controversial
They should
question.
be.
Yeah,
I mean,
'cause
it's
I'm-
meat between two.
Well, that's
bread.
it, and then you could start asking: is a hot dog a sandwich as well? Is that just a sausage sandwich? And like, is that
true,
going?
yeah.
Are we crossing a line there?
Yeah,
I feel
yeah.
like there's a lot of hot dog enthusiasts maybe who are
Yeah, I've
really
never had a
angry
hot
with that
dog.
question.
Yeah.
You've never had a hot dog?
No, never in
Well,
my
I
life.
feel like
no,
that's
no.
an interesting point
Yeah,
of conversation.
yeah,
How have you got to
something
this
do.
point in life without ever having a hot dog?
I don't know. They've just never seemed that appetizing. I think it's because when I was a kid, I'm seeing them raw. Do you know what I mean? Like when you see like just the actual sausages in like a jar or something, you're just like, God, yeah, I'm not having that. I just never found it that appetizing. Yeah.
I
will have one
super
though.
interesting.
Definitely.
Yeah, please. maybe we need to have like a hot dog day at Wakelet.
We should have the hot dog podcast. Yeah, we'll do a full hot dog special.
I'm going to ask you a question, a final question, just something that I asked Michael earlier, and he thought it was really interesting. So, we're in a zombie apocalypse.
Okay.
And you have to choose 3 people from Wakelet to be your survival team.
Okay.
Who are you going to choose and why?
This is a good one. Okay.
And it doesn't necessarily have to be 3 people. If you'd rather just survive with 1 or 2
Yeah,
people. I mean,
yeah.
Michael chose 2.
Okay, so obviously Jamil, okay, because because Jamil is not only like a specimen athletically, like he's very fit.
Plays a lot of sport.
He plays a lot of sport, and I also feel like his body is kind of made for fighting. You know, like when you just see like the way, like it's almost like it's always coiled, ready to sort of, So I feel like he'd be really good. Also, he has some, some interesting experience with like survival stuff as well. So I definitely think based on Jamil's backstory and who he is and the way that he is, I'd definitely say Jamil. However, in a zombie apocalypse, you'd also need, some fun. You'd need, somebody there to take the weight of the apocalypse off your shoulders a little bit and show you that there's still, humor to be had. And I'd choose Elle. Yeah,
Great
because
choice.
I think that Elle would provide us with a sense of calm. And El
because
doesn't-
El's always happy, right?
always happy.
And we mentioned
yeah,
that on El's
always
podcast
happy.
too.
You always feel like much better when you see El come into the office. You
Definitely.
know, it's like a burst of energy.
Brightens your day.
100%.
The darkest of times, like a zombie apocalypse. so, yeah.
Definitely, I'd have El. And then I think because we'd be living in a very historically significant time, somebody should be there to make a record of that. And I would say that would have to be Marcus. I think Marcus running around with his camera would be fantastic. Whether or not Marcus could defend himself, I think that's on us, because one thing you don't want to be doing a zombie apocalypse is to just be looking at. You always need to be checking your six.
That's true.
Okay,
yeah,
but
of
Marcus
course.
is constantly like that, so you need backup.
Yeah,
But I'd have
absolutely.
Marcus there to film all the glory kills, and
That'd be great for the new world to
exactly
watch
to watch and learn from. Yeah, that's it.
Definitely.
Yeah, 3 awesome people I'd have there.
Well, thank you so much for coming on this
It's
podcast.
been an
I feel
absolute
like I've
pleasure.
learned so much about you, and it's flown by. I feel like I could ask you so many more questions.
I know. Likewise, we'll definitely have to do it again. But no, I
Definitely,
appreciate
yes.
it. Thank you. It's always lovely. I have to. This is a fact which everyone has to own. It's always lovely to talk about yourself. So thank
Yeah.
you for the opportunity to do that. I appreciate it.
No, I mean, I feel like we've only scratched the surface with you as well. You're a very interesting character.
There's more episodes to come.
Definitely, yeah. At the Wakelet podcast is where you can find our other podcasts. Follow us on social media at Wakelet across all platforms. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm
That was awesome.
I'm very bad at outros.
That was awesome, man. That was so much fun.